Hey there, welcome back. It's Perry here, and I've got a January update on the way. Hope you guys had a great holiday season. Happy New Year. It's been a few weeks since I did my last video, and I'm going to try to be as good as I can about getting videos up at least every month so you guys can see the progress that's going on in the reef tank here. Again, just to recap, back at it, a 60-gallon peninsula style tank, and it's 20 inches tall by 20 inches wide by 36 inches long. And a couple things that have changed since the last update is number one, let's go in closer here. On the back you can see that is a magnetic bonsai style frag mounting rock, if you will. It's not made of rock, it's probably a rubber plastic of some sort, but decorated to have the coralline look. Has 12 pre-drilled holes, and this is going to have only tenuous species, and I'll get into more of the names of corals and talking about corals and highlighting them and stuff like that as we get further into more videos. But just real quickly, I did pick up a Jason Fox Pink Freak tenuous, the Pirates Reef Infidel, the TGC Cherry Bomb, the Sexy Corals Orange Passion, and the Matt V Cookie Monster. So those were just recently purchased around the same time as the Magnetic Rock, and so those are my first 5 tenuous species that are hitting it. I do have, of course, the Walt Disney, which is right there. So as you look into the tank, it will almost, once it gets growing larger, look like it's connected to that branch. So it'll almost look like it's a piece of that magnetic rock. Anyway, I've also started dosing oyster eggs from Are You Salty? And the SB Reef Bar, I have another one for the back of this T5 unit on the way. So I will put that in the back, and that will give me a lot more pop in the back of the tank. And I'm pretty satisfied with colors. As you look, most of my colors, based on the lineage of the corals, is fairly on point. I'll go in a little bit. Now, I do have some bubble algae, and some people are like, well, are you concerned? I have some hair algae. You can see it back there underneath the Walt Disney and various other spots. And the answer is no. If you saw my last video, I do have mangroves and a refugium growing down below. And I suspect as these corals become colonies and begin to shade and rob nutrients from the algae growing in the tank, then I believe it will eventually starve it out. And so I'm not utterly concerned. I don't have any issues with it contaminating the tank or causing issues with corals. As you can see, polyp extension, coloration, growth, it's all there. Those are the indicators we're looking for. And as long as that's there in the tank, I'm satisfied. And again, I believe the algae will ultimately work its way out of the system once the corals become larger and have more of a demand on nutrients. My philosophy with this tank is relatively simple. I am using the carbon source and probiotic bacteria from Aquaforest, and it's mainly because the rock is devoid of real life like ocean rock would be. And it's a hot topic out there, at least on some of the reef threads out there, reef to reef. And I'm kind of active in that conversation because all my tanks leading up to this one were established with real ocean rock. And this one was established with dry rock. And as a result, there's something that's just missing. Now, while I say that, about a year and a half the tank has been running. Although I couldn't keep SPS corals, I have a ton of microlife developing within the tank. But I do believe that there's something in bacteria that helps to get the nutrients, i.e. phosphate, to the SPS corals, which we're now starting to learn more about phosphate and how wildly important it is to the health and the role of SPS corals. So, you know, before it was always, don't worry about nitrates so much, but you can't have phosphates. And now it's kind of becoming the opposite. I really don't test, guys, for either. I feed this tank heavy. I've got 8 fish in it, and they get fed frozen food, high in phosphate type food. And the bacteria consumes the phosphate. The corals, the SPS corals, then consume bacteria, which has already consumed the phosphate. So I believe that perhaps that is how we're getting phosphate to these corals. Now again, in an ocean rock established or very well mature rock established tank, I believe this bacteria is there, and of course comes in via fish food, on coral frags and pieces we bring in. It's constantly multiplying, but I do believe as we move forward and journey forward into reefing, I've been doing this for 15 years and I never had an issue until this tank. And now that I've started dosing the bacteria and the carbon source, for whatever reason, my corals are absolutely taking off. So again, I have to go with what my eyes and my gut's telling me. I'm not a big fan of monitors. I do run a Digital Aquatics simple monitor, but I don't over monitor. I don't overdose. I don't really test. It's just imperative that we learn observation and what are the key indicators of coral health. And then once we do, we don't freak out when we see these algae. I've seen more people kill corals worrying about these algae than just simply allowing the natural course to develop. And as long as you see happiness and healthiness within the corals, let's not worry so much about algae. Because remember, algae is feeding, the corals are feeding on the same thing as what the algae is. And they need the same exact stuff. So if we try to burn our algae out through dropping our phosphate to very, very low numbers, we could potentially lose our corals as a result. Okay, and then there's people that are bashing the old schoolers who run ultra low nutrients, but it's not ultra low nutrients, guys. Zeovit and Aquaforest, these are not ultra low nutrient programs. These are nutrient rich throughput scenarios with the emphasization on heavy in and heavy out. But in between the in and the out, there's massive amounts of foods made available through dosing of supplements or just increasing the amount of food and coral foods you're putting in the tank. So I'm going to leave it there. I don't want to get too philosophical. I hope you guys have a great day. Thanks for looking over the reef. Please remember to subscribe and hit that like button. Drop a comment down if you question or want to understand a little bit more about the philosophy here. Happy to work with you and happy to at least share my experiences. Have a great day. Thank you.